Italian and understand Italian?
No.
No, okay, so we go for English tonight as well. I don't know if you have been here last time, my graphic, absolutely, or maybe it's the lights, sorry. Welcome to the second episode of this short seminar about industrialization in Italy. Italy, not just art, culture and food, the adventure of Italian industry. So, as I told you last time, we want to try a new concept and speak about a topic that it's not usual to hear about in Norway. Industrialization, made in Italy, Italian production. Good sides and bad sides. So, the second conference, Italy and deindustrialization, decline and innovation between 20th and 21st centuries. Again, Stefano, beside me, Stefano Agnoletto is Chinese of the evening. For those who were not here last time, Stefano is an expert in economic history, and he is living now in Oslo together with the family. I will read a short CV just to, in detail. So you are a historian and economist, or economic
historian, especially, but I also.
You are also an economist. He had his first PhD at the University of Napoli and his second PhD at Kingston University in London. Now he's visiting research fellow at BI-Norwegian Business School in Oslo. Until August last year, he was the head of the department Didactics at Fondazione ISEC. Fondazione ISEC, Istituto per la Storia dell'Età Contemporanea, Institute for the History of the Contemporary Age, in Milan. Over the last 2 decades, he has collaborated with many universities in Italy, Canada, USA, UK, Spain, Poland, and Russian Federation. So, you are a globetrotter, yes. And well, you represent the Italian community very well, with so many trips abroad. And he has carried out many international research projects about economic and social history. And he has, of course, a long list of publications. I'm not naming all of them. You can, of course, if you are interested you can contact Stefano personally, and you can read his works as you like. This seminar is a cooperation between Comites, which I represent tonight, the Italian Institute. Matteo Fazzi is here. Thank you very much for the hospitality, and ISEC, because the pictures that we have seen last time and the video which we are going to see tonight are coming from the archives of the ISEC. So a new concept, not only for the topic, but also for the cooperation between Norway and Italy in the historic field. Thank you very much for being here, and I leave the floor to Stefano. I hope I told you everything was necessary to say. Thank you very much, Stefano.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much to Comites Oslo and the Istituto Italiano di Cultura di Oslo for organizing this program. And so welcome to the second conference about the history of the adventure of Italian industrialization. the first conference really was an exciting experience for me, because I really appreciated the feedback and the question. So thank you very much. But now let's go with the new start. A few words about the program of tonight. First, there will be my presentation about deindustrialization, and then my presentation will be followed by the screening of a documentary produced by Fondazione ISEC, a Voce Association and University of Milano. The title is Polline Rust, Memory, War, Deindustrialization in Sesto San Giovanni. It will be an Italian but undertitled in English. So, what we talked about at the first conference? We talked about Italy as member of the G7 since the origins. It means that Italy was one of the most important economies in the world. And it was not just about fashion or food or culture, but it was about many entrepreneurial, successful experiences, such as Eni, Alfa Romeo, Fiat, Borletti, Brega, Olivetti, Italtel, and so on. The last conference, we went from the first Italian Industrial Revolution at the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th centuries. We went through the First World War, and we reached the economic milestone of the 50s and the 60s. We looked at the history of entrepreneurial successes. Maybe you remember the Progetto 101 of Olivetti, the ATR 300 of Breda, or the global experience of Eni of Enrico Mattei. As well as we talk about histories of conflicts, contradictions, and also the dark side of Italian industrialization. For example, we talked about mass migration. We talked about social conflicts, the role played by workers' movement in the history of Italian industrialization. And, for example, we also talked about the tragedy of the death of Enrico Mattei. This was the last slide I showed you 1 month ago. It's a newspaper, the most important newspaper in Italy, Corriere della Sera. It is at the beginning of the 90s, and it claimed that Italy is the 4th economy in the world. What then? What happened later? I'm going to talk about what happened later. Okay, to understand what happened later, I think it's useful to understand what were the 3 pillars of Italian economic model. They were a mixed economy. It means an economy where the state played a role as a protagonist. Most of the most important industry we were state-owned, such as Finmeccanica, Eni, Enel, Credito Italiano, and so on. A second pillar, it was the trade unions and the workers' movement. Pay attention, they played a role not just to defend the working class, but they were the protagonists of the building of a welfare state, and they played a fundamental role to redistribute what? The income, the result, the wealth produced by economic miracle. The third pillar, there were some people, there were entrepreneurs and managers, entrepreneurs of private companies and state managers that were really successful. 2 examples, Adriano Olivetti and Enrico Mattei. Well, what happened to this pillar since the 80s? Sadly, we could say that they disappeared, they were defeated. Deindustrialization, the almost disappearance of a large company in Italy. Look at these numbers and at these trends. 1971, numbers of Italian firms with more than 1,000 employees. There were 339. In 2011, there were just 176. And look at this, is the average numbers of employees they had. In 1971, they had, as average, 3,800 employees. In 2011, they were just 2,400. Some examples. Here there is a list of the most significant companies. Look at Fiat. In 1990, not in the 70s, but in 1990, Fiat still had 237,000 workers. In 2015, there were just 84,000. We can say similar numbers for all the other Eni, State, Eni, Finmeccanica, and so on. What were the reasons of this deindustrialization? Okay, the first is typical of many countries in that period. Saturation of the market and international competition. There are new competitors, you know, the tigers of the Far East and so on. Then the second fact was the relocation to countries with lower wages and labor costs. Here, this is an interesting picture. It came from Limes. It's a very important journal about geopolitical issues. It gives us an idea of what happened. Clearly, these companies went around to look for what? Best solution for the companies. To pay less the workers and so on. Then there is a third point at the origin of the reduction of Italian workforce. It's technology. In order to explain what happened, I want to show you two short videos. The first is about the assembly line at Fiat in the 70s in Turin. The second is about assembly line for the new cars, the 500, at Fiat nowadays in Memoria. So you can see what happened. This is 70s in Turin, assembly line at Fiat. This happened in Turin in the 70s. Look now what's happening now at Melfi, Fiat. And please, look for workers here, if you can find them. Are they workers? 9. Here, finally, there are some workers. So the first point was deindustrialization. Then a second point, privatization. It means the disappearance of a state-owned industry. I mean, disappearance of that partner of mixed economy that was at the origins of economic market. It's interesting to see some numbers. Between 1985 and 2007, this Italian state got about 150 billion euros selling companies, placing Italy in the second place behind Japan in the global ranking of privatization. Contribution to GDP of the companies owned by central governments has fallen by 18%. It's very high in the capitalistic society, to just 4.7 in 2013. This was really a structural transformation of the economy of enormous proportions. It was the end of the pattern of mixed economy in Italy. Privatization in Italy has led to a total withdrawal of the state from strategic sectors such as banking, insurance, telecommunications, and also the loss of state control on other strategic sectors such as energy, defense. Look at this. This is what happened with the banking system. The so-called banks of the national interest, they were privatized between 1991 and 1998, the most important bank in Italy. This is about energy, defense, and telecommunication. Finmeccanica, it was partly privatized, partly means 70%, so the state lost the control. It was the core of Italian defense industry. It controlled companies such as helicopters manufacturer, Augusta. Unfortunately, it is very famous. They use this helicopter in many wars around the world still now. The defense company Otto Melara, the electronic enterprise of Vicino Galileo, the Breda. I talked a lot about Breda the last conferences. Eni, the global Italian multinational oil and gas created by Enrico Mattei. It was partially privatized in 1995. Telecom, the telecommunication company, 1997. Eni is very important. Probably it was the most important company during the economic miracle. The fact that the statalization of energy at the beginning of the 60s, it was really the starting point of our economic miracle. It was privatized in 1999. And surprise, there are some companies that we don't know. Okay, Alfa Romeo was sold to Fiat in 1986, but Alemania and Motta, probably you know the Panettone Motta, they were produced by the state. They were sold to Nestlé in 1993. And Autogrill, if you go to Italy to live or for holidays, you go on the highway, probably you eat to an Autogrill. It was of the state, was created this from Enrico Mattei, and it was sold to Benetton in 1999. But the third pillar, the defeat of trade unions and workers' movement. Clearly, this was the consequence of many issues, such as the economic crisis of the 70s, the disappearance of big industries. Remember, clearly the blue-collar were the most part of the members of trade unions. The disappearance of big industry, and as a consequence, a loss of power for the trade unions, and clearly also the changes in the political environment, the claim for the so-called neoliberalism. But there is a turning point in the history of Italy, very important. It's the so-called 30-day strike and the march of the 40,000 in 98. It was a turning point not just for Fiat, not just for industry, but probably for all Italian society. What happened? Well, in September 1980, Fiat announced that it was going to sack 14,000 workers, to fire them. The metal workers at FLM responded by calling an indefinite strike and stoppage. It lasted 35 days. Pay attention, it was the longest strike in the major industry since the war. It had a large support, workers from other cities came to support the picket lines, and money poured into the strike fund. A successful one-day strike was declared in Piedmont. The one-day national strike was also declared by FLM. But something very important happened. On October 14, 1998, this is in all history books about Italy. What happened that day? 30 to 40,000 Fiat white collars marched through the center of Turin behind banners claiming FLM did not represent us, did not represent them. That night, there was a meeting, and the union leadership surrendered to Fiat, signed an agreement which allowed the company to lay off 23,000 workers, rather than the original 14,000. Then there will be a dramatic meeting with the Fiat factory council delegates, I mean the representatives of the blue collar. It was a very dramatic meeting. The reaction of many delegates was violent against the union leadership, which signed agreements. It did not surprise. It was a complete change of the picture.
Well, sorry, what does it mean to lay off 23,000 workers rather than original food?
This was the original proposal. Yeah, they fired more than the original proposal at the beginning of the strike. Yeah, it was a completely new picture. And this had an incredible impact on Italian society and Italian industrial history. Within the factories, the idea that Fiat did not was just to reduce the labor force. They aimed to reclaim full control over labor force and production that they had lost since the hot autumn of the 1969. I talked about the last conference. And it was a message for all the Italian industrial system in the society. It represented the definitive defeat of the concept of the pan-syndicalism attitude. It means the idea that trade unions don't represent just a part of society, but they were able to represent all the society. This is the end. In the 60s and 70s, the Italian trade unions were the protagonists, the birth of welfare state and of the modernization of Italy. The March of 40,000 highlight the end of the trade unions as one of the pillars of the Italian industrial experience. It was really a shock. The question is now, deindustrialization, privatization, and the role played by trade unions, and so on. The question is transformation or decline? A transformation happened. On one hand, the crisis of the large-scale enterprise, but on the other, the emergence of a new class of medium-sized businesses. I'm talking about the need, the real need, of Italian industrial districts. What is an industrial district? Represent a cluster of interconnected companies, mainly small and medium companies, operating together as a network in a small geographical area. Industrial districts are a typical phenomenon in Italy. In Italy, now there are more than 200 industrial districts mainly in textile, fashion and furniture industry, but also in many other sectors of our economy. Look at this map and compare Italy with the other countries. The only comparison possible is with Germany. This is really the characteristic of our economy nowadays. It's a country of small and medium companies. Look, France, Spain, Great Britain, and we can see Norway. But you can see the differences. Okay, I want to give you, for example, a paradigmatic example of what an industrial district is. This is a very successful district area, the so-called packaging valley in Emilia-Romagna. The high-performing automated packaging machineries created in Emilia-Romagna gave really a worldwide reputation as the packaging valley. They really are the best packaging automation machineries in the field of food, beverage, consumers products, tobacco, pharmaceutical. And here there are some of the companies, you can find them. Tetra Pak, Sacchi, Marchesini, Ica, Intercava, IMA, they really export all around the world. In order to understand what I'm talking about, here you can watch a video. This is a marketing video produced by the industrial district. Explain that an industrial district is something more than just production of packaging. Look at this. There is, I think, so you can understand what industrial district is. It's something more than just production. It's a network, a combination of university, of social life. This is really an industrial district nowadays in Italy. Okay. This is in Italy now, this is data is about 2012. We had 3,500 more medium-sized firms. Medium-sized means that they have between 50 and 500 employees. That's really so many. The point is something about Italy, or something about the part of Italy. Look at this map. What happened? What happened is this, that in the last 30 years, we have a new geography of the Italian manufacturing industry. The core, the earth of the economic miracle was the farthest industry of Milan, Turin, Genoa industrial triangle. You see here on the northwest of Italy. But now the earth of Italian manufacturing is the so-called knowledge economy and the soft skill manufacturing of the industrial districts of the northeast. It means Emilia-Romagna, Veneto, Trentino Alto Adige, and Friuli. Here, plus the tertiary economy of Milan. This is the new core of Italian economy and Italian manufacturing industry. And this system is for sure still a place of industrial success. It's always easier to show it with another video. I think this is clearly a marketing video. It was produced by Italian government to sell Italy, but it's very interesting. It gives us an idea. So this is marketing, but this is also reality. So for sure, Italy is still now a place of success, of successful entrepreneurial experience. But there are some points. But it's also a place full of economic and social contradictions. But first, the persistence of the historical dualism, and probably now the situation is worsening than before. Look, for example, this data is about unemployment rate in 2017. The red means that there is about between 17% to 13% of unemployment rate. The white one is between 2 and 7%. Look at the south and look at the north. Well, Italy became a country of immigration. And this is a consequence of the fact that Italy was a successful economy. I have no time for comparison, but it's important to remember that, yeah, it's a count of immigration, this data are clear, since the middle of the 80s, but much less than other European countries. But since the 2007 financial crisis, it's again a country of mass immigration. All time are back. Probably many people in this room know exactly what I'm talking about. But look at this trend. 2015, more or less, we have the same numbers of immigrants per year we had in 1970. This is really impressive. And here, 2017-18, it goes up. This is not exactly a good signal for our country, for Italy. Increasing poverty. There are many indexes I could use. I choose this. This is the trend of percentage of Italian family that borrow and use savings. Italians were famous because used to save, and save. Look at what happened here. What's going on? Also, this trend is really impressive, and it's going to tell us something about increasing poverty and needing the Italian people. Inequalities. Look at this. This is what happened to the real wages between 1985 and 2014. Look at the difference between the top 10%, I mean the people that earn the most, they experience an increase of 27% in their wages. Look at the bottom 10%. They experience a fall in wages about almost 30%. This is a symbol of what's going on in Italian society now. Precariousness. Less permanent employment and more precarious. Temporary work. And this is something that is going to be structural. Look at this data, and this data, unfortunately, is till 2014. Later, the situation is going worse and worse. Since 12 to 22% of all the workforce. And finally, gender inequality in workplaces. I've chosen to use this index. It's a complex index, and the green means the best situation. The red is the worst situation. Italy is orange. It's not that good. It's very bad. Norway is green. So congratulations to Norway about that. So this is Italian industry and economy now. It's a combination of contradictions. It's innovation, for sure, as well as precariousness. It's lively networks of successful industrial districts, as well as disappearance of strategic industrial sectors. It's capable, wonderfully capable entrepreneurship, as well as mass unemployment, especially in some area of the country. It's technology. You have seen what's going on in Melfi, as well as inequality. It's soft-skilled manufacturing, as well as low wages. It's knowledge economy, as well as mass immigration. It's the famous fourth capitalism, together with backwardness. It's successful made in Italy, known all around the world, as well as dramatic geographical dualism. Is export exactly towards all over the world, as well as gender inequality in the workplace. So this is the complex situation we have now in Italy. Moreover, the transition from the industrial Italy of economic miracle to the Italy of the industrial districts, it was not just about the end of a pattern of industrialization, of production, of mixed economy, but it was something more. It was how a whole world disappeared, a way of living of world communities. The documentary, in a few minutes, I'm going to show you Polline Rust, Memoria, work, deindustrialization in Sesto San Giovanni between 85 and 2015, I forgot one number, tell us a story of this transition. The closure of the Italy's largest steelworks, the FALC. What was FALC? FALC was founded in 1906 by George Enrico FALC. In the 60s, there were over 16,000 workers. From the 80s, the period of occupational contraction begins until the closure of this historic company at the end of the 90s. Here you can see the data. And these two pictures, coming from archive of Fondazione ISEC, show what happened. This is the aerial view of the farm when it was still working. This is the factory now. But FALC, as well as many other large companies in Italy, meant not just a workplace, it was a community. For example, it meant houses for the workers. The most part of FALC workers lived here. This is the FALC village, where they used to live together. There was a kindergarten for the children of the workers. There was a market for the workers. There was a sport field. There was small gardens cultivated by the workers. So it was not just a relation between workers and a company. It was something more, much more. And FALC also meant a glorious history of anti-fascist resistance. During the war here, we had impressive strike against fascists and Nazis. It was a history of strikes in the 50s, the 70s, of trade union struggles. Moreover, FALC was placed in a particular place. It was Sesto San Giovanni. Sesto San Giovanni is a small city close to Milano. It was called the Stalingrad of Italy. Why? It was really a symbol of Italian working class. The city was dominated for decades by the Italian Communist Party. It used to get more than 50% of the votes at the elections. And it was very, very important industrial site near Milano, but in the 70s still had tens of thousands of workers in large factories. Yeah, there were factories like FALC, Breda, Ercole Marelli, Magneti Marelli, close to Sesto San Giovanni was the Pirelli, maybe you know, and so on. In the 80s and the 90s, it experienced an impressive part of deindustrialization. It was really the end of a community, a workers' community. This documentary, it tells the story of the end of this community, giving the word to the managers, the blue collars, the employees. It tells of bonds between people, and the factory, and the end of these bonds. Pay attention. It was a factory where it was very hard to work. It was to be a steel worker was not something nice. It is not something nice. This is a picture from the 80s. There were terrible working conditions, but the workers were part of something. It was a community. So, this documentary, it was a very interesting project of public history. It was supported by crowdfunding. It's interesting, crowdfunding, basically it means that many former workers of FARC and other companies gave, I don't know, 100 crowns or something like that, and they able to support this project that was supported by Fondazione ISEC, Associazione and University of Milan. So, thank you very much for your attention, and now I hope you can enjoy this documentary. Thank you very much. It's in Italian, but English subtitle, so I hope you can understand.